I see you said you were in a band.
Yeah.
Did you get to hear a Mo Joshi project anytime soon?
No, nothing. I wouldn't do any music again now. I was in a band, but I wouldn't. I still get when I see all the guys on stage, and I have done it obviously after a few drinks and everybody's finished and I've gone on and fucking rapped. But no music wise. Like I was in a band called People Unknown, and what the beauty of this band is it predates the internet. So there's nothing online about this band. We've got vinyl and CDs and gig flyers and all that type of stuff. And there was a SoundCloud, like the producer rapper who got me in the band, he's called Mr. A. And he did put the whole album up on SoundCloud for like a year, and it was there. He's taken it down. I've got some tracks somewhere, like it was kind of just straight boom bap, like sample based boom bap, like, and we were live sample guy on an MPC, drummer, bassist, percussionist, DJ, and 2 MCs, like a full-on proper live hip-hop band. And this was like 96, 97, 98, 99, like around that time. 2001 I moved to London, and we still did a little bits, like jammed in rehearsals and odd show here and there, but yeah, we didn't make. So again, the other rapper in the group, he had I think 3 girls in 5 years, and he was like 17, 18 or something, I can't remember. So by the time he was 21, he had 3 girls. So he's like, man, I got to get a fucking job. And I'm like, all right, man, we got to get jobs. And that was the end of that, man.
So in India, you started with Elements.
Yeah, so when I came to India, so basically my brother moved out 10 years ago. So our business grew to like 200-300 people here, and I'm not a man management person. I'm like sales. So I was here, then we swapped places. So he moved out here full time, and then about 5 years ago, business went through a really kind of down spurt. I was doing everything other than the business, basically. There's a rapper in the UK called Akala, so I started working with him. There's a singer called Joss Stone, so I started working with her. And there's a booking agency called Diplomats of Sound and a festival venue called Chaiwallas. So for about 8 years, I just got heavily involved in that live scene in the UK. And it just opened that was like another baptism of fire, because up until the age of 25, I only listened to hip-hop and nothing else. Like my listening habits were just so confined to that genre that I didn't even bother. But then going to somewhere like Chaiwallas, it just opened my eyes up to like freaking jazz and funk and Afrobeat and folk, you know what I mean? And then about 5 years ago, we kind of needed to save the business. So me and my brother work best when we're in the same office. Do you know what I mean? We started the business in our living room in the same office, and then, you know, when we kind of went apart, like, you know, we didn't have that drive or that focus. So when I moved back to India, saying, okay, we'll fix the business, which we did. But then I was just obviously saw the hip hop scene here, which I'd never seen before. Like 2014, end of 2013, beginning of 2014, I obviously started seeing like the Mumbai rap cyphers. In 2015, I think, was one of those years where I think end of 15 or early 16, Mere Gali Mein dropped. End of 15, around that time. And then, so I put together this whole kind of plan about, I'm going to bring a massive hip-hop festival to India, freaking Redman and all this type of stuff. Like, so I put together this deck, and I called the festival Elements because I wanted to promote the 5 elements of hip-hop, like the culture kind of side of it. So I went and pitched this thing to fucking everyone, like VH1, MTV, Savan, fucking everyone going. And they kind of laughed at me because I was like, give me 10 crore. I want to do this festival. And nobody knew who the fuck I was. Like, do you know what I mean? No one. And then I was like, okay, fuck, I'm going to have to do this another way. Then I started Googling, and I was like, okay, cool, who's doing hip-hop in India? And then I found, like, a few things, but then I found fucking DesiHipHop.com. I looked at it, I'm like, 500,000 likes. Yo, hit these guys up. Boom, 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 boom. And emailed the thing straight, or emailed the info address straight away going, yo, my name's Mo. I want to do something called Elements in India. Like, you guys interested in being media partners? So the guy who runs it, Hardik, he pretty much hit me back straight away going, yeah, let's talk. So then we kind of spoke later that day. We spoke for like 3 hours, 4 hours. And obviously we were both on the same page that hip hop, India, boom, let's do stuff. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, you know, I looked at the platform and I saw a lot of positives in it in terms of, yo, this could be the spot. Do you know what I mean? This could be the central hub. It was a big piece of fucking shit at the time. Like, from my perspective, you know, if you like Badshah Bohemia and all that type of stuff, then, you know, cool, it serviced that market and it serviced it well in that sense. But in terms of the type of stuff I wanted to do, it was way off the mark, basically. One thing led to another, and I ended up taking it over. Kind of said to Hardik that, look, you're not here. I could really fucking do well with this. So I took it over for 18 months. When I took it over, it was getting roughly 1,800 visitors a month. When I left, the most we had was 400,000 in a month. So I know I definitely leveled that fucker up. Do you know what I mean? You obviously started doing bits and pieces, and a few other people set up. At least there was 10 people doing stuff, you know. When I left, like, a lot of the people that necessarily wouldn't have necessarily done stuff with DHH had started to do stuff with DHH. Do you know what I mean? And then that all fell apart, basically.
So was the work between, like, your first couple of projects from Azadi, was the work between the classic album that you put out, was the work between Bayan that you put out, what were the hardships in that process in putting together a piece of album?
Yeah, big learning, man. Big learning curve. Like, putting records out, starting a label. Man, it's easy to just say, cool, we're a record label. But it's taking me, it's 18 months and we're still getting publishing sorted, you know, because it's easy and it's difficult. For example, distribution, it's easy and it's difficult. Easy in the sense of I can go and get distribution from a number of Indian-based distributors. Hangama, Kuki, you know, Horus is obviously here. But they all charge upwards of 30% for distribution. 30%. So I'm not doing that. You know, the same way in publishing in India, IPRS has just started to get his act together. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, we still need publishing as a label, you know? So that took some time. It was a big learning curve. And, you know, in a way, I kind of feel that we did Classic an injustice. It was a great record, and just the learnings that we did from Classic, we put into Bayan. Do you know what I mean? And I can see Bayan was a bigger launch than Classic was. Even though Classic was seminal in its time, Bayan had more eyeballs. Obviously, we've grown, the scene's grown, but everything we learned it was a year and 2 months after Classic came out, Bayan came out. 16th October 2017, 28th December 2018 is when Bayan came out. And we learned a lot in that time. We made a lot of new connections. But, you know, there's always difficulties. Difficulties for us as an independent label is getting seen. Everything is about impressions. In the digital world, it's how many times it's seen, and that is called an impression. So, and you have to pay for that shit. Do you know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, everything comes down to numbers. If you get 100,000 impressions, some X percentage are likely to click on it, X percentage are likely to follow, X percentage are likely to... It's eyeballs. But obviously to get 100,000 impressions, you need to put money behind it, or you need something, you know what I mean? So the most difficult thing for us is being seen. I know I personally believe we've got some of the most talented artists, not only in India, in South Asia. Do you know what I mean? Globally, if you look at Punjabi rap, there's some heavy hitters in Punjabi rap. There's only one fucking Prabdeep, and I know that. Do you know what I mean? He might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you know, he's a true lyricist in that sense. You know, I've seen Prab in action. He's a J Biggie Nas type rapper. You know, it's concepts and ideas, and you know, a lot of what he does, he writes after he kind of has already thought of the concept. You know, and that's talent. You know, he's not sitting there writing for hours and days. Do you know what I mean? That's some people's model, and they work at that, and that's great, and it works for them. But Prob's just like sitting with Says in the studio, they've got a beat, they've got a concept, and he just fucking flows, you know? So the biggest challenges for us moving forward is getting seen, and that's money. Do you know what I mean? It's purely money. Like, we put 20 grand behind a release, 30 grand in some way or another, and we'll get to 100,000 views within 2 months, you know, but this trash coming out and it's at 1 million views. I just don't fucking get it. Do you know? Like, I just...
Alright, so like after the release from Classic, it's been a couple of years now. So what you got, like what were the rewards or the accolades from Classic or Badman, from all the work you put in as Azadi?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is getting Prob that platform, you know, because nobody had put a record out like that. You know, maybe since Paisa Nasha Pyar, Kali Denali, you know, in that, because listen, I don't like much of what he's doing now, but you know, Kali Denali Bohemia was my shit. You know, Paisa Nasha Pyar was the shit. You know what I mean? Like, when you're looking at, because it was the first time I'd heard hard Punjabi rap. Do you know what I mean? Like, and after that, for me, it was Prob. You know, and I might be biased or, you know, but because that Punjabi space just turned into drinking shaddi music. Do you know what I mean? There was very little, you know, rap coming out in that time. And then, you know, the kind of Prob thing. There's more of it happening now. But getting Prob that platform, Prob getting the Toto Award, you know, that was really important because it was the first time a hip-hop artist got the Toto Award in India. It was the first time a Punjabi artist got the Toto Award in India. And forget anything else. Forget this article, that article. That award is put together by what I would call true musos that are in it for the love of music, you know? And, you know, there was some really good records in that. I think it was 30 people down to 15, then down to 3. And we were happy Prob got to the last 3, like, freaking amazing. Like, to be honest, me and Prob went to the award, like, we both went to the award show, and we were talking, we were just like, we're not going to get it, like, we're freaking hip-hop, like, you know what I mean? But cool, we're here, we're going to have a few drinks, and then they fucking said his name. And we were just looking at each other and went, fuck, you won! I was just like, you know what I mean? And he was really humbled at that time as well, you know, like, that was definitely one of them, man. I think another really really nice thing to come out of it is it's what we've done is given, I feel, other independent artists a bit of hope that if Azadi can do it, and we might get signed to Azadi, or we might get signed to another label like Azadi. Do you know what I mean? Like, because there wasn't that there before. India doesn't really have a history of solid independent labels. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if this is true, but I was told the showcase that we did was the first time an independent label did a showcase in India. You know, so I don't know if that's true. Like, don't count me on it. But again, it was one of those things like, cool, we did something, you know, we got freaking 10 acts together, put them on a stage and did a showcase for 3 hours of emerging music in India. Do you know what I mean?
And so what's the Swadesi movement right now that you're pushing?
Swadesi, man, they're in this time of rap, they're one of the most interesting groups around. Just the makeup of Swadesi, the individuals, their backgrounds, where they come from, is hip-hop in itself. Do you know what I mean? From Mawali to Todford, they got Yash there now. Obviously, Nas making beats. you know, they've gone through their challenges. They've obviously been around for a while. Members have come, members have left, you know. But I feel now that they've got a structure around them. Obviously, us from a music and label perspective, and 4x4 from a management perspective, that you'll start to see a lot more kind of best come out of them, you know. So obviously, these boys, they've grown up on that underprivileged side of Bombay. Do you know what I mean? There's obviously many sides to Bombay, but you know, they don't have much, never had much. Do you know what I mean? Don't come from much kind of thing. So a lot of what they rap and speak about is their own experiences and positive message. So obviously the whole RA thing at the moment, they all live in Royal Palms. They can see these trees being knocked down out of their window. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's that age-old capitalist kind of socialist battle. Do you know what I mean? And they're obviously extreme left in that sense, and have decided to make their music put out a positive message rather than not necessarily a negative one, but no message. Do you know what I mean? Should we move?
What are the things the current labels are doing wrong according to you?